Purchase your track today.
The history of Afro-Argentines dates back to the 16th century when black people, fit chained, were brought from their homelands in Africa to be traded as slaves in Argentina. At the time, Buenos Aires, the capital city of Argentina, had just been founded and trading was the main commercial activity. As the years went by, the numbers of slaves being traded in and out of Buenos Aires increased drastically. As of the 1600s, the slave trade industry had grown so much that about 70% of all trading in Buenos Aires involved importing slaves from Africa. It was only a matter of time before slave trading became a legalized trade in Argentina, extending far into the 1800s. Although the slave trade in Argentina ended in 1813, slavery itself lasted until 1853 before it was finally abolished.
Purchase your track today.
Afro-Argentine culture in Argentina has a rich and complex history that dates back to the era of the Atlantic slave trade. While the country has a relatively small Afro-Argentine population today, estimated at around 1 to 2%, their cultural contributions have been significant and have helped shape the country's identity. Afro-Argentine culture is an essential part of Argentina's diverse cultural heritage. Buenos Aires, which was once the center of the slave trading business, is currently admired for its clothing architecture and structural beauty. Denial of rights. From the colonial period till the 19th century, the Afro-Argentines were considered property rather than human beings and had no legal rights. Even after slavery was abolished in 1853, Afro-Argentines faced segregation and discrimination in many areas of life. They were often excluded from schools, churches, and other public institutions and were forced to live in separate neighborhoods. Afro-Argentines were often excluded from well-paying jobs and were forced to work in menial or low-paying occupations. They also faced discrimination in hiring and promotion. They were often excluded from political participation and had little representation in government. They were also denied the right to vote until 1912. Many Afro-Argentines lost their land and property due to discriminatory laws and practices. They were often forced off their land or had their property seized without compensation. Black people couldn't attend universities before the law got abolished in 1853. The white children had a longer number of schooling years than the black children because of racism. The 14 schools in Buenos Aires in 1857 only admitted 2 black children, although 15% of students that year were of color. They had no access to their healthcare centers. All of these resulted in their poor economic and financial status.